Welcome back to Chat Like a Native. We are getting straight into something so practical today. I mean, it's really the holy grail of professional life, isn't it?
Really is.
If you've ever been in a meeting and you're just sitting there silently nodding, you have this brilliant idea, this game-changing idea, but it's just slowly dying inside you because you can't find the right words or, the right moment to jump in. Well, this is your intervention.
I like that. An intervention.
Our focus today is mastering professional communication in those high-stakes discussions so you can stop being the quiet observer and start sharing your valuable ideas with real confidence.
And the benefit for you is, honestly, immediate and career-changing. We've synthesized a simple, powerful toolkit, just 10 specific phrases.
That's 10.
That's it. These are designed to be your confidence backup.
Yeah.
They make sure you sound calm, professional, never aggressive, never shy. Even when you need to, say, disagree with your boss or interrupt a conversation that's moving way too fast.
And the best part is, it all comes down to one simple, unforgettable framework. We're calling it the JSD framework.
JSD.
Yep. It stands for Join, Suggest, Disagree.
That's it.
Memorize JSD, and you will always have a professional way to get into a conversation.
That's our mission today. We're going to spend a little time on why speaking up feels so hard, and then we're going to move step by step through that JSD structure, breaking down the specific phrases you need.
Okay, let's start with the problem, because if you struggle with this, you are so not alone. It's an almost universal experience.
Especially for non-native speakers, yeah.
Absolutely. The material we looked at outlines 4 main psychological barriers, and once you hear them, it's like, oh, okay, that's why I'm quiet.
The first one is that massive internal wall. The fear of mistakes. It's that constant worry about your grammar, your vocabulary, or, your pronunciation. That little voice in your head that says, if I speak, I'll sound stupid.
Right. And the risk of looking foolish just feels higher than the risk of saying nothing, so silence wins.
Every time.
Yeah.
And that's made even worse by barrier number 2.
The speed.
The brutal, relentless speed of conversation. Fluid speakers talk fast, they interrupt each other. They don't leave these long, inviting pauses for you.
No, they're definitely not waiting for you to build that, perfectly structured, grammatically flawless sentence in your head. By the time you have it, the conversation's moved on.
Exactly. The moment is gone. Which leads right into the third hurdle. The worry about sounding rude.
This one's huge.
It is, because you're a professional. You know that in a lot of cultures, just saying, I disagree or that's wrong is really abrasive.
It's seen as confrontational.
Right. You know that English needs these softeners, but if you don't have them ready to go, you stay quiet rather than risk offending someone.
And the final one is maybe the most practical barrier of all. It's having no entry phrase ready.
The door phrase, as we call it.
Exactly. You could have the best idea in the world, but you don't have the simple, polite 2 or 3 words to just, get the floor. You're stuck outside the conversation.
Well, the good news, as we said, is that this is completely solvable. We are not aiming for perfect fluency. We're aiming for tactical fluency.
A small toolkit.
A small toolkit of trusted phrases. And that JSD framework is the backbone that gives you the confidence to actually use them.
Exactly. It's a simple 3-step structure that makes you sound confident and respectful every single time.
So, step 1 is the join phase. Start soft.
Step 2 is suggest or share. Share clearly.
And step 3 is the disagree, or what we call the dialogue phase. Invite others in.
Okay, let's jump into phase 1, starting soft. This is the J in JSD. Join the conversation. The only goal here is to politely ask for some space to speak.
Right, you're not attacking or interrupting. And this is where you solve that speed problem. You need quick, neutral phrases.
So what are the key ones?
We recommend, could I add something here? Or can I share a quick thought?
Okay.
Or if you need a bit more authority, I'd like to say something about that. Notice they're all questions or statements of intent.
Right, they aren't comments on the actual topic yet.
Exactly. Let's run a little micro scene. Imagine you're in the Wetley team meeting. Your manager's going on about next month's targets, and you have this great idea to automate data collection.
But the manager's on a roll.
You're on a roll. The trick is to wait for the micropause. A breath. A tiny gap. You don't wait for a full stop because it might never come.
So instead of trying to talk over them, I wait for that little pause. I lean in and I say clearly, could I add something here?
Perfect. They nod or look at you and you go immediately.
I think we could integrate an API hook so everyone can update their numbers daily without manual entry. You're in. It's seen as polite, not intrusive.
And that's why it works. The professionalism of your request transfers to the idea itself. Which brings us to phase 2, sharing clearly. The S in JSD, suggest.
Okay, so now I have the floor. How do I make sure my idea sounds like a suggestion and not, a command?
This is where softening language is so important. Certainty can sometimes sound aggressive in a team setting.
So what are the best phrases here?
They're all about framing. So, from my point of view, or I'm wondering if we could, or my personal favorite for politeness, maybe we could consider.
Okay, but I sometimes worry that, maybe we could consider. It sounds a little weak. If I know my idea is solid, why soften it so much?
That is a fantastic question. And it really gets to a cultural point. In a lot of professional cultures, especially in the US, that kind of hedging doesn't signal weakness. It signals collaboration.
Ah, okay, so it's about respecting the room.
Exactly. It shows you're open to input. It opens the door for other people to build on your idea. Soft language is actually a form of power in these settings.
That makes a lot of sense. Let's walk through that other micro scene, the project discussion. The team is excited about some super complex cutting-edge software.
Right. But the deadline is only 6 weeks away, and that tool needs 2 weeks of training. It's total overkill.
My first instinct is to say, you guys are wrong. That's a terrible idea.
Which would not go over well. Instead, you use that gentle framework. You don't blame the speaker. You focus on the friction point.
So I'd say something like, from my point of view, that tool might introduce a lot of setup time for a tight 6-week project.
Perfect.
And then I'm wondering if we could start with a simpler option and maybe upgrade later if we need to.
See, you didn't critique them. You just framed their idea as maybe not the best fit for the timeline. You're aligned with the goal, just suggesting a different path.
Okay, this brings us to the hardest part. Phase 3. Disagreeing politely. The D in JSD.
The big one. These phrases are maybe the most valuable in the whole toolkit.
They let you hold a firm position without, starting a war.
The foundational rule here is validate before you differ. Acknowledge their point first. It lowers their defenses immediately.
So what's the phrase?
The workhorse is, I see your point, but I have a different concern.
I like that one. I see your point, but it shows you were listening.
It's powerful. Another one is a bit more direct. I'm not sure I agree with that because...
Okay, I have to challenge you on this a bit. If I use, I see your point, but every single time I disagree, isn't that going to sound, I don't know, really formulaic? Like I just read it in a textbook.
That's a great point. And you're right, it could. The key is in the delivery and, more importantly, the specificity of the first part. The structure is just a vehicle.
Okay, so how do I make it genuine?
You don't just say, I see your point. You say what their point is. For example, I appreciate your focus on moving quickly, but I have a different concern about the test results.
Ah, so you connect it back to what they actually said.
You ground the phrase in the actual conversation. It makes it feel earned.
That helps a lot. Okay, let's do the disagreement over a plan scene. The manager wants to launch next Tuesday to hit a target.
But you know the security testing isn't done, and a data breach would be a disaster. You have to step in.
Right, and my anxiety just wants me to blurt out, no, that's way too soon.
And the whole room would freeze. So instead, you use the structure. You honor their goal first.
So, I see your point about moving fast to hit the quarterly target, but I have a different concern about our risk exposure.
Yes. Keep going.
I'm not completely convinced yet that we're safe. Could we look at the outstanding security test results again before we lock in that launch date?
Masterclass. You used concern, not command, to change the timeline. That is professional de-escalation.
It feels much better, too.
This takes us to a more advanced tool, which is all about these say this instead of that translations, just removing some blunt phrases from your vocabulary.
Right, swapping out the direct approach for the more nuanced one.
Okay, so giving an opinion. Never, ever say I think you're wrong. It's a dialogue killer.
What's the alternative?
The better professional choice is what we just practiced. I'm not sure I agree with that because, and then you give your evidence.
Okay, what's another one?
Don't use the demanding tone of, we must do it this way.
Right, that invites a fight.
It does. Instead, use the persuasive phrase, I strongly recommend we do it this way because a recommendation requires a reason. Must just demands obedience.
And what about when you think an idea is just bad? You can't say that's a bad idea.
No. Use the concerns approach instead. I see the benefits of that plan, but I'm worried about the long-term maintenance.
Acknowledge the positive, introduce the negative. I like it.
And for interrupting, instead of the frantic, wait, listen to me, which sounds desperate.
You use the entry phrase. Sorry to jump in, but could I add something here?
You got it. That softening language is the secret ingredient. It's a
Yeah.
professional filter that makes people hear expertise, not arrogance.
Okay, this is great. But you mentioned a final step.
Yes, let's circle back to that crucial final piece, which we call closing the loop, the dialogue element.
What do you mean by that?
A lot of people, once they've successfully shared their idea, they just stop. They breathe a sigh of relief and they're done.
Yeah, you drop the mic and walk away.
Exactly.
Yep.
But stopping their signals, you just delivered a monologue. The final step is to invite others back into the conversation. It shows you want cooperation, not control.
It frames your idea as an opening statement, not the final word.
Precisely. And the key phrase here is wonderfully simple.
What is it?
What do you think about this?
That's it.
That's it. Or alternatives like, how does that sound to everyone? Or, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. It completes the loop.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the whole toolkit. Just those 10 key phrases that make up the JSD safety net.
To join or start soft? Could I add something here? Could I share a quick thought? I'd like to say something about that.
Then to suggest or share clearly. From my point of view, I'm wondering if we could, and maybe we could consider.
And to disagree politely, the tough ones. I'm not sure I agree with that because, I see your point, but I have a different concern. And I'm not completely convinced yet. Could we look at?
And finally, to close the loop, what do you think about this?
That's your reference sheet.
We've given you the structure, the JSD framework. We've given you the polite phrases and the say this instead of that translations. The confidence you get from this is just, it's huge because you don't have to panic anymore. You just reach for a phrase you trust.
And remember the essential point here. You do not need perfect English to add value to your team. You just need a few good phrases and the courage to use them.
So your final provocative thought for the week is this. Choose just 2 of those 10 phrases, maybe 1 entry phrase and 1 suggestion phrase, and just commit to using them in your next meeting this week.
Just 2.
Just 2. Even 1 short, well-structured sentence can totally change how your team sees you. It can transform you from being a quiet observer into a confident, contributing team member. What 2 phrases will you start with?